Hey guys, this is Sam Mishra, your friend, and I'm here to present the ultimate guide to buying a used Apple iPad like a pro. Alright, so how many of you like an Apple iPad? I'm sure many of you, right? We all love those great devices from Apple. That's world's greatest selling and the largest selling tablet, I think, and the quality is unmatchable, and who doesn't like them? Boy, I love them. Well, so there are lots of ways to buy those iPads. Some of us would walk into the Apple store and buy it. Some of us would like to order it from Amazon or eBay or Best Buy. Some of us may wait for a good deal during the Black Friday season, right? But many of us, including me, would also like to buy those great devices from the local marketplaces, like the Facebook Marketplace, like the Craigslist, like the Let Go, like the OfferUp, right? So those places are where you get a lot of such wonderful devices, maybe in a very good condition, in a like new condition, and for a really low price. Like I've myself bought a lot of those from the local marketplaces I just mentioned, and I flipped them for great profits. All right, so that's a different subject, but the point is, whenever I buy those kind of electronic items like the iPads from people I do not know, I have to be vigilant. I have to make sure that the device that the person I do not know is trying to sell me is all right, right? I have to make sure it's not stolen. I have to make sure the battery is good. I have to make sure technically that device is all right and I can buy it with peace on my mind. All right. So how do I do it? So I have been buying these stuff from years now. All right. And every time I buy those, I run through a checklist that I came up with my experience. Today, I'm going to share that checklist with you so that next time when you go and buy those iPad, maybe for yourself, for your family members, or for flipping for profits, you could buy them just like a professional. All right. So without wasting much time, I would like to jump into uh, the checklist that I came up with. All right. So, guys, this is the checklist that I've been talking about. This starts all the way from checking the iCloud log to kind of factory resetting the iPad. So, what I would like to do is I'll flip the camera over. I'll try to show you each of these steps using an iPad that I bought today, and towards the end of the video I'll let you know how you can have access to this free resource. Yes, I'm talking about this resource, this checklist guide that I came up with. I'm going to make sure that all of my viewers are going to have access to this checklist and they can get their Apple iPad from a local marketplace just like a pro. All right, so we'll talk about it later. I'm going to flip the camera over, guys. All right, now you see me. That's cool. So that's the iPad that I have been talking about. Now that's an iPad Air 2, and it is something that I got from a local marketplace, probably Facebook Marketplace. And as you can see, guys, this is a wonderful piece of software. I personally like the Air 2 a lot. It's kind of sleeker than the latest. That's the 2017 iPad. It's lightweight and it's pretty fast. So and it's got a kind of a anti-reflective screen, which I really like. All right, but when I bought this lovely piece of device, what were the things that I checked? So to make sure that this guy here was all right. All right. So the first thing that you would need to check is the iCloud lock. All right. Now, let me show you something. I go to the settings, and in the settings, just like that, right? So there is a place which says that this device uh, is linked to my account. So right here it says it has my name, as you can see, and it says the Apple ID, cloud, and stuff like that. All right. So that's where you can go and verify um, that the iCloud account is put on the device you are trying to purchase or not. If there is the other person's iCloud account on that system, you need to ask him to remove it. So if he is the original owner of that device and he has his Apple ID and password, he could easily sign out himself, and that's mandatory. If he's not able to do it, do not buy it, because possibility is that if he can't sign himself out of the device, that device could be stolen, and you will not be able to use the device uh, for a lot of functionalities would not work if you can't put your iCloud in. All right, so even if people try to sell you an iPad saying, everything works perfect, but the iCloud is on, just do not buy it. All right. There is every possibility that that particular iPad is stolen or maybe lost. So no point of buying those iPads. So the first things first, check the iCloud lock. If the iCloud lock is on, ask the person who is trying to sell it to pull off his account, and so you could sign in with your own Apple ID. If he can do that, don't buy it. All right. So assuming that the first uh, the first item on our checklist is green, we go to the second, which is the ESN or the IMEI check. All right. Now, and this particular um, item on the checklist is valid only for the cellular models. Now, this particular iPad that I have is a non-cellular model, so it only will work on Wi-Fi. So if you were to use your iPad just anywhere, like in a train or outside in a park, you would need the cellular model. So what essentially happens is the iPad would just be like this, but it has a SIM that you can put in and you can access internet anywhere. So for those kind of devices, you have the IMEI or the ESN number, just like you would have for all the phones. All right. So what you do is you take the IMEI number, and I'll tell you how you pick the IMEI number. If you kind of take the iPad and go click on settings, and in settings, if you go to the general and about, all right, um, there you could find the IMEI number and the serial number. I'm going to show this to you. This one will not have an IMEI number, but I'm going to show you where to look. All right. So that's the place where you would find it. I'm going to show you the serial number for this iPad. You can see that serial number right there. So just right beneath the serial number, you would have the IMEI number if this were a cellular model. All right. So take the serial number, take the IMEI number, and you could actually put it on sites like the swappa.com. If you go to a site called Swappa, SWAPPA, swappa.com, they have a wonderful tool for checking the blacklist. Now, if you put the IMEI number in the Swappa ESN check tool, and it says it's whitelisted, now possibility is that the device is not stolen, is good. It hasn't been reported stolen. Uh, so you could buy it, all right? But if it says that this device has been reported lost or stolen, again, do not buy it, because, well, you could take the device and use it as a Wi-Fi device only, but the cellular part won't work, all right? So what happens is if I have a cellular iPad and I lose it or it gets stolen, and it's cellular, right? So I call my carrier and say, okay, I lost it or it's been stolen. And what my carrier would do is they would lock that device. So what it means is anybody who stole my iPad tries to get a SIM inside and make the internet thing work on it, won't be able to do so. All right. So stay away from such devices which say they are blacklisted. All right. So that's about the checking the ESN and the IMEI. The other thing to check would be the Apple support coverage check. So the third point on our list is the Apple support coverage check. What you need to do is, again, take your iPad and go to the general section in the settings, go to about. Inside the general section, go to about and try to find the serial number. All right, so I'm going to show you this. Hold on. Yeah, again, the same serial number that I showed you a while ago. See that? There's a serial number. Yeah, so take that serial number and go to a website called the Apple coverage check. You can Google it, saying Apple, check coverage, Apple, and type Google. It would take you to a site which is Apple's, and it gives you a text bar, and you need to put the serial number in the text bar and press enter, and it would give you some critical information. The first information it would give you is that this particular device that I'm trying to buy and check the serial number for has actually been sold by Apple. All right, so that will guarantee that this iPad is actually a genuine Apple device and not a fake. All right, so that's an important thing to validate. The other thing it would say you is if this iPad has any kind of a warranty left on it. So when you buy any Apple device, it has a 1-year warranty on it by Apple. So if you buy this Apple and it's less than a year old and there is a hardware problem or a software problem, so Apple, you take it to the Apple store and they would either fix it, and in most cases they would just flip it or swap it with another good piece. All right, so if you're lucky and a person trying to sell you an iPad has a warranty, great, you got lucky, because you buy that device, and if there is any problem with the device, a hardware or software problem, you could take it to the Apple store and get it fixed without spending any dollar. That's great. All right, so that tool from Apple is gonna give you that information about what you're buying. All right, so anything with Apple warranty is a great buy. The other thing that this page will tell you is what is the model name for this particular iPad, and what exactly it is. So for example, I know that the Air 1 model and the Air 2 model for the Apple iPad, they look similar. All right, so to a novice who is buying an iPad for maybe the first time, it could be a difficult thing to make out it's an Apple Air 1 or an Air 2, right? It happened to me when I started up. I mean, I have had people trying to sell me the Air 1 models, but Air 2 models, but they actually were the Air 1 models. All right, how would I be sure that this is what the person is trying to the person trying to sell me is telling something, and whatever he's saying is right? So if you go to that site I just mentioned, the Apple check coverage site, it's gonna tell you what this device is. So when you put the serial number, it's gonna tell you if this is Apple iPad Air 2 or a Air 1 or a fifth generation, or iPad 1, iPad 2, whatever. All right, so very important tool that I just talked about. I just put all the links to all these sites, I'm going to put it in the description part right below this video, and I'm also going to put the link to all the tools I'm talking about in this PDF, and I'm going to send you this PDF as I promised, and so you'll have access to all these wonderful tools. All right. Well, so once we are done with 1, 2, and 3 points, then you can check the cosmetic condition. All right. So whenever you're trying to buy such an iPad, um, a person like me, I mean, it's a personal choice, but ideally like to buy my stuff that are like, they look clean, they look good, and they look new, right? So you can see this iPad, it doesn't have a single scuff, a single scratch on the body, on the sides, on the back, right? So typically this is what I do whenever I try to go and buy a stuff that I would like to buy for flipping, for myself, for my friends. I try to look at all the sides, the charging port, making sure it's all clean, the speakers, right? The speakers here towards the bottom, they're all clean. I press the home button, making sure I'm able to press it properly and it's all good. And then I press the volume buttons right at the right hand side of the iPad, making sure it's clean. And then I click on the power button, making sure it works, right? So making sure the cosmetic condition of the iPad is good. That's a clean thing to do. Once you're done with the cosmetic condition, you could actually now, turn on the iPad. Make sure that the iPad turns on. That's a very important thing to do. All right. Now, I have had many people trying to sell me an iPad. Um, you know, uh, and the iPad won't turn on, and they would say, well, it doesn't have charge in it, so if you charge it, it would turn on. And I would, not take those iPad. I would rather ask them to charge it out fully and show it to me that it turns on. Because you take a lot of risk if the iPad is not turning on, and you come home and you discover it's not going to turn on, and it's got a battery problem or something like that. So once it turns on, you need to go to the settings and go to the Wi-Fi section and make sure that you take your phone, turn the hotspot on if you're in a public place like a park and you don't have a Wi-Fi connection. I would recommend, what I do is I get people to meet me inside some popular restaurant like McDonald's, the bread company, or inside a mall where they have public Wi-Fi's. I get those guys there to meet me so that I could use the public Wi-Fi for free. So I connect to the Wi-Fi and make sure that this device that I'm going to buy, I'm able to connect to the Wi-Fi. So making sure that the Wi-Fi device on this device is all good and clean, and I'm able to serve the internet, which is why these devices are built. So that's why it is so important. So do that. Make sure that you are able to make the Wi-Fi connection. So once you're done with that, open Safari, which does come with Apple, and try to go to apple.com. And you can see that I'm able to go to the apple.com site. So definitely the internet thing works on this iPad. That's good. The other thing, once you're done with the Wi-Fi thing, sign into iCloud. And as I said, uh, if the person is able to log out of this device, it would be a good idea to go to settings and sign in to this device using your own iCloud account, just to make sure that you can get into this device and there is absolutely no problem in you trying to do that. So two things will happen. One is this device gets registered to your name on Apple's database, uh, and the second thing is you also log in to the iTunes on the Apple's database. So once you log into the iTunes, you'll be able to download few applications, which we are going to do in the next steps. All right, and that is important to check as well. So sign into the iCloud, and then once you are signed in to the iCloud, go to the application store or the app store. So this is the app store right here, the blue one, right? The blue one, yeah, that one. So click on the app store and search for an application called Battery Life. Battery Life. Look for a app called Battery Life. Okay, so when I search Battery Life, the number one application that comes on the list is what we would like to download and check. Alright, you see that? So there are two Battery Lives. You could download any one of those. I typically like the one with the lightning mark, Battery Life check. All right, so I click on it and I download it. Make sure you download it. So there are two things that we are gonna check. All right, the first thing is you were able to sign in to the Apple iCloud and iTunes App Store using your Apple ID, which means now you are a registered user on Apple's database, and they know that this device is owned by you, at least at that point in time. Do not worry, you can always log yourself out. All right, if you decide not to buy it at a later point, you can log yourself out. Make sure you log yourself out. Otherwise the person would have to come to you again. All right, so two things we are going to accomplish when you download that app. The first thing is you'll be sure that you are able to download applications onto the Apple iPad, which is a good thing to validate that you're able to connect to the internet, download applications. So that's a good thing to check. Once you are done, click on the app that we just downloaded. It's called Battery Life. I'll show you. I got the application right here, Battery Life, the green one. All right, and then what I do is I click on Battery Life, and it gives me, and it tells me something like this: very low. Now what does that mean? And below the very low it says 2% battery wear level. You see that? Okay, so what does this mean? This means that using this application, Battery Life, we are going to check the health status of the battery that this used iPad has. Now, a lot of people buy iPads and they see that this iPad is all clean, green, looks beautiful, doesn't have dents, scratches, everything is good, and they just buy it. But one important thing that many people do not know about or they forget to check is the battery, right? So all these devices like the iPhones or the iPads or the MacBooks, they're all driven by the battery, right? They all got the rechargeable battery. So it's important to check the battery health, because if you get stuck with a battery that is not good or has problems, then you might have to get another one, and which might not be good. And if you are trying to buy a used iPad, it's very important, very important to make sure that the battery is all clean and green. So as you could see that this particular iPad that I purchased has a 2% battery wear level. A new iPad, when you put that software on a brand new machine, like my phone, it's an iPhone 7 Plus, and it's kind of a brand new phone. So I also have this Battery Life installed here, and it says you this. You see that, guys? Perfect 0% battery wear. So what it means is the battery is all new. There is no wear at all. So when I charge the battery, it's gonna say 100% full, and actually the battery will be 100% full. Now here it says 2% battery wear level, which means that even if I charge it and my iPad says that it is 100% full, my battery would be actually full to up to 98%. So 2% wear, which is good for a used iPad. All right, anything above 90 is good, and I would actually go ahead and buy. Anything below 90 is kind of, I'll try to bargain for a better price on that, or if I'm trying to buy it for myself, I won't buy it. All right, so that's about the battery life uh, thing. Um, we did the battery health check, as I just told you. Home button. So many times I've seen, a lot of iPads have replaced buttons, and they are the cheap ones, not good. So just try to press on them and make sure it's all working good, and you don't have to apply a lot of pressure right here. The other thing that you would like to check, especially on the newer iPads like that of the Air 2, iPad 5 2017, they have the fingerprint scanner. So the home button also works as your fingerprint scanner. A great feature. I use it for most of my apps which need a password, like my banking app, my Amazon app, my PayPal app. They all need passwords, right? So instead of having to put in my password, I just use my fingerprint scanner, and it just does the trick so fast. And I also use my fingerprint scanner to kind of get into my device. So make sure that when you get this iPad, you set your fingerprint, go to the settings, and there's a section that says Touch ID and password. Right now it's all turned off. That's for you. So go to that section and make sure that you are able to set your finger ID for this device, so that you know that the finger ID is working. All right, so that's the reason I said fingerprint scanner check. Once that is done, make sure the camera check is done. Wow. So do not forget validating your camera front and back. Go to the camera app, and it works, right? It works. The back camera works. And turn on the front camera, guys, and it works. You see, it works. That's my webcam. All right, so make sure that you are able to take some pictures. I took a picture and I can see my picture. It all works. And I'm also gonna take a video. All right, so I shoot a video using my new iPad, and alright, so I'm able to play my video that I just shot using my iPad. My new iPad. You see that? So this also proves that the speaker for this iPad is all good. The video system works, the camera works, the front camera and the back camera works. Alright, pretty important. Alright, good. Once we are done with the camera check, we need to test the video audio using YouTube. So we just checked. I took a video, I turned on the video, so I was able to listen to my voice that I did record, so which means that the audio is good. And you could also go to YouTube using Safari and try to watch a movie, or um, just make sure that the video system works. So I'm going to YouTube. Alright, so the video works. I'm going to maximize it and see that it all works, and I was able to maximize the video, and it works like charm. Alright, so that means that the display is all wonderful. So guys, once we are done with the video and the audio, we go to the test volume button. So I test the volume buttons on the right hand side of the screen, and it all works great. I test the silent button. I actually wrote that by mistake. So the silent button does exist on the iPhones, but not on the iPads. So I'll edit that portion in the document before I send it to you. So ignore that one. Validate the charger and the charging process. So guys, make sure when you get the iPad from the owner, the real owner, he gives you a charger that is this big. See that? So the reason I'm trying to tell you that you get this charger is, well, that's from Apple, the original Apple charger, because the batteries that go inside the iPad is really big. So if you get the tiny wall charger, the 5 amp charger, it's going to take ages to charge the big battery. So Apple came up with a bigger charger. It's a 10 watt charger. It's going to charge your iPad and iPhone really fast. All right. So always try to get the bigger charger, not the smaller wall charger. It's maybe good for the older iPhones, but not good for the newer iPhones or the iPads. So once you get this, just plug it in and go for a good Apple uh, charging cable. Put it there and charge it. All right, so once you charge it, you should be able to see the lightning sign on the battery, and make sure that this device is getting charged. A lot of time people try to sell iPad that might look good, but the charging port won't work. So it's important that you make sure that you're able to charge this iPad using a charger. All right. Now, once guys you're done with that, check the touch and the drag functionality. So power on your iPad and make sure that you are able to play with it, and everything on the touch thing works. So open a few apps and make sure that everything, you're able to play around with your iPad. All right, you are able to drag, drop, and the screen is responding beautifully. So to make sure the touch and the drag works. All right, guys. So test the. I'll come to the carrier lock at the last. Test the power button. So this is the power button right here. Press it and see you're able to put the iPad to sleep just like that, right? And turn it on just like that, and also you are able to restart the iPad. Um, Once you're done with all of this, so if your iPad is cellular, so there is a SIM slot, take the IMEI and put it in a site called iunlocker.net. So those guys, or even IMEI24.com, so those guys should be able to tell you, what carrier. So this iPad is logged. If cellular is logged to what kind of a carrier? So is it logged to AT&T? Is it logged to Sprint? So that kind of information. So you know what you're buying, and so those sites are wonderful. So the IMEI.com is a free check, but you could possibly do a check a day. iUnlocker.net would give you that information for like $2, $1.99. They would tell you instantly, you know, what career, uh, what career is this iPad logged to. All right, and if you get an unlocked iPad, that's cool, because an unlocked iPad would have a better value. All right, because any carrier would work on it. People can take it outside the United States, so the value would be more. All right, so once you're done with all of those stuff, the last but not the least is, before trying to buy that iPad, I would encourage you to factory reset that iPad. So when you factory reset that iPad, you're actually deleting any of the old data that the previous owner might have, and you go home with a brand new iPad and you put your iCloud and set it up as a new iPad. That's a cleaner way of doing things. That's how I do it. All right, guys, so that was all about this lovely iPad that I have with me. I would really like you guys to take your own iPads if you have one, and try all the stuff that we just spoke about today, and see if it helps you. All right. So I'm sure if you can follow all these steps, uh, you are gonna have a great iPad with you. And you can, depending on how what you get out of this checklist, you could also bargain for the iPad for a cheaper price. All right, so let's say if the battery has a great bigger wear level, you could show it to the person who's trying to sell it to you, and say, okay, can I buy this for like $20 less, because I may have to replace the battery, right? And more importantly, there are people who are trying to sell you cheap stuff, bad stuff. You can be sure that there's something bad with this iPad, and you don't have to buy it, right? So you don't get conned. So that's the purpose of this video. So that's it. Uh, those are the resources, guys, that I have been talking about during my video. So I put everything out there, where to check the iCloud status. So if you just put the IMEI or the serial number, it's going to tell you if the Find My iPad is on or the iCloud lock is on. So sometimes even if you cannot power on the iPad, you could actually, using such sites, check if the Find My iPad is on. Um, for checking the ESN and the IMEI, or checking if the iPad is blacklisted for the cellular version, you could go to swappa.com/ESN or the IMEIpro.info. For the Apple coverage check that we spoke about at great details, you could go to the checkcoverage.apple.com. Download the battery app, and I also pasted the link to the app. You could check your SIM lock or the carrier lock, which is applicable, of course, to the cellular models. You could go to the IMEI24.com or the ionlocker.net. All right, guys. So as I promised, how do you get this wonderful resource? Good question. So all you have to do is watch my video, like it, and go to my comment section, and say I want this material. Put your email IDs, and I'm gonna send this to your email IDs. All right, that's how you're gonna get this material all for free. Last but not the least, if you really enjoyed watching my video, please subscribe to my channel for more of such wonderful ideas. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at the end of this video for more of such videos. Thank you so much. You were great, guys. Thanks so much for watching me, and have a great rest of the day or night. Bye-bye.